Hello, folks. Welcome back to Lady Vinyl Gaming here on this Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday, 5 p.m. It's time for Story Hour. Story Hour is where we take a text based game and thank you, Vinyl Sky, for the follow. Is where we take a text based game and I essentially read it like a story. I do different voices for the different characters. They will change episode to episode. But usually within the episode, I'm pretty good at not mixing one up with the other. I will say, and I will be honest, sometimes I even do get confused as to which character is actually speaking. So it does get mixed up sometimes, but only sometimes. Uh, if you enjoy this here story hour, we are doing it on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, and they will run basically until the story gets finished. And then we usually take a few weeks of a break to set up for the next story. If you enjoy this, there is also the Friday Night Fright, not podcast, stream. These are streams. There we go. The Friday night stream, where we alternate between Dead by Daylight or Phasmophobia, and we play a group game with a whole bunch of friends. Usually I'm in a little more of a scandalous outfit, but you will still see me on the screen for those. If you enjoy that as well, Sundays at 1:05 U.S. Eastern Time, 1:05 p.m. Eastern U.S. Time, we do a general sit and play game. Currently, right now, I am doing the Dragon Age series. We're still on Dragon Age Origins. But in the past, I've done Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines. I did an episode of Fortnite when they swapped over the seasons. I've done the Untitled Goose Game. I've done a whole bunch of them. They are all available, as is all of the previous story hours and Friday Night Fright streams are all available on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel should be down in our set of links that is here on the not YouTube's. This isn't YouTube's. I'm telling it you. It's a thing to go to YouTube's here on Twitch. Also, if you're enjoying our stuff, we do have a video that gets posted each week on OnlyFans. It is a gaming video. I am in even more scandalous clothes, and sometimes not even in clothes, on the OnlyFans. The OnlyFans video streams are actually free. You do need to use a card to sign up, though, which is a OnlyFans thing. It's not a me thing. So you do put your card on file with them, but in order to watch any of the gaming streams, or not streams, but the gaming videos that I have, they are free. Premium content is being worked on and will be up, but all of my stuff at this moment is actually free on OnlyFans. I believe that is all of the stuff that I have right now. For those of you who are a little new to Story Hour or who have missed a few episodes, I believe we only started this season, or this story, last week. We're doing Vampire the Masquerade Out for Blood. To my understanding, it is written from the point of view of somebody who is actually going to join the Second Inquisition. It is not actually written by somebody who's about to become a vampire. We haven't really found out what's going to happen because last time we ran into one of the sheriff deputies, as well as one of the girls from high school, or they were high school before us. Hey, Tally, thank you for the like. Um, and that was about it. We did make a whole bunch of choices, and as promised from last time, I'm gonna actually show you the character sheet. I will say, for some unknown reason, I cannot get the game to actually stream directly. Um, I think it's a game issue, and I say that only because I've tried it here on Streamlabs, and I also tried it on my OBS studios, and neither of them could actually pick up the game, um, which is kind of super weird, honestly, but it's what's going on. Um, so yeah, so uh, this was the first set of attributes. This is definitely where we are story-wise. We're still on the Saturday, July 20th of 2019. Um, I have not that great strength, not that great dexterity, much more charisma and manipulation than stamina, composure, or intelligence. My wits are they're a resource in this game. So there's something that I believe I could end up losing or using along with my resolve. Um, as for my skills, I do have a smidge in athletics. I have a bunch in survival and a bunch in insight. Nothing at all in leadership or subterfuge or combat or clandestine. Uh, I have full up awareness and occult. We had talked about that, and Tally, I remember you helping chime in with that choice last time. And we do have a little bit of investigation. As for the background, we do have some contacts. We don't really have any influence or resources. We are at full health. Willpower, that's what I was thinking of. It's not wits, it's willpower. So actually, my wits is only 2, which isn't bad. It's not the ones that strength, dexterity, and intelligence are at. But it's not all that high either. So we have the 1 in contacts. We have full health, full willpower. We have no experience points right now. We are more kind-hearted than domineering. About a 50-50 split between sarcasm and being matter-of-fact. A little bit more inquisitive than impulsive. A little bit more, decent bit more truthful than conniving. Thought that said convincing at first. More truthful than conniving. And we are more cynical than we are idealistic. We evidently have $2,500 in cash. Don't know how we got that, but I'm okay with having that. And that's where we are. These pages were ripped as images from the character sheet that I do have in the game. And we will get back there. Turning the car onto Burns Road, you spot the sheriff's office, a flat, square, white brick building with a wooden porch straight out of the Wild West. A banner stretched across the road ends any suspense on the identity of the current sheriff. Re-elect Raymond Alistair, sheriff. Really? Sheriff Raymond is still around? The guy must be in his 70s by now. When you last saw him, he was returning to work after hip replacement surgery and had considered retirement. Everyone in town assumed Marcus Williams would take over, but you remember hearing he was fired for some reason. The sheriff always had a laid-back attitude. He and Grandpa never got along. Something about a late-night poker game and Dolores Bell, who used to run Jericho's premier hotel, the Bell Grand. You've seen the two men nearly trading fists over the direction of that woman's smile. Once you were old enough to understand the dynamics of love triangles, you realized Dolores had eyes for Sheriff Raymond, and your grandpa was trying to break up the dance. As the second most powerful figure in Jericho politics, Sheriff Raymond was someone to have in your corner, a fact Grandpa seemed to overlook or ignore. Your thoughts shift back to driving as you run a stop sign turning off Burns Road. You focus back on the here and now. The town looks largely how you remember it. Having spent several summers here, you formed loads of memories. You even remember working for the sheriff's office, helping out Sheriff Raymond. He became quite fond of me, which gives me a little bit of a little bit of pull in his office. Right around your 12th birthday, your friend Adam asked if you wanted to take over his part-time job in the summer while you visited. Having just been lectured by your grandpa on using your time more wisely than playing video games and hanging out with friends, you took the job at the sheriff's. While it consisted mostly of filing paperwork and making twice daily runs to Carter's Deli, you found yourself taken under the sheriff's wing. When Grandpa found out about your job, he marched down the sheriff's office with you with the sole purpose of having you quit. If it weren't for a timely visit from Dolores Bell with a batch of cranberry muffins, your grandpa would have traded fists with Sheriff Raymond. You finished out the summer at the sheriff's office, but never returned. Working at the sheriff's office helped you meet law enforcement in Chicago, and forming those relationships has led to loyal contacts to call on. You drive the Red Beast down Red Tree Road, so named for the red maples and red cedars standing out from the woods. It's the longest road in town and ends close to your grandpa's house, now your house. As you pass homes in the neighborhood, memories trigger from your childhood. That time you broke your ankle jumping out of Jessica Johnson's second-story window on a dare. When you helped pin a mural on a wall at the La Playa Community Center, building a fire pit in Adam's backyard for a July 4th barbecue. All the images flow through your mind like a fast-moving slideshow. You speed up, wanting to end your trip as soon as possible. There's time for reminiscing later. After all, you're moving here and have loads of work to do. The memories take on a different timbre when you catch sight of Bleak Rest House. Bleak Rest House? Bleak Rest House. Odd name for a house. Okay. Streetlights illuminate the exterior of the house and the hill on which it sits. Your hands turn sweaty and your heart patters as you stop the car to take in the house. Mansion, rather. You cut the engine and find yourself staring through the parted trees at the 3-story colonial home with its stone white brick and its black slate roof, reminding you of 2 sharply pointed eyebrows. Sitting atop a hill overlooking the southern end of Jericho Heights, Bleak Rest House casts a long shadow with the valley, and has always done so as one of the oldest houses in DeKalb County. "Curse that Bleak Rest House is," Grandpa said when the new owners moved in. You watch from the bottom of the hill at the 4 moving vans carrying in steamer trunks and immense crates just after sundown. "Every single owner has lived under the curse of that house, whether it's an affliction, a bankruptcy, or a devastating act of nature. When you sign that deed, you sign away all happiness." "So I shouldn't ask if they're renting out rooms?" you asked. Your grandfather smirked, but said nothing. Strangely, the house looks far different than the images in your memory. Banks of lilies and sunflowers and other flowers, far more exotic than Illinois wildflowers, rise among the walkway. The roof and brick walkway look pristine, like they're shielded from time and weather. A long metal pole juts from the attic with a satellite dish as long as your car. Sitting in the driveway is a sleek red sports car, though you're too far to see the model. Bleak Rest House looks alive and vibrant, but you can't stop shivering until you look away. You start the engine and drive on, past the mini-mart, past Empire's used cars, and new businesses formed since your last visit. It's nighttime, and the town looks dead. Few people sit on porches or walk the streets. No children play in the parks. The only sign of life are those faces peeking out of the windows. You recall an active town in the summer of your childhood. Not this ghost-like version of Jericho. It's only when you reach North Street, with its family-owned shops and restaurants, that Jericho seems alive. Dozens of townspeople walk among the broad cobbled street, and the red beast bounces and shakes until you coast to a stop in front of your grandfather's store. We're gonna decide it's called Chapter 11, a bookstore, a popular spot for the townspeople. Dealing in new and used, rare and out-of-print books, bookbinding, book repair, coffee and snacks, Chapter 11 is one of the hot spots of town since your grandpa added a coffee bar. Unfortunately, the popularity of large chains and online stores forced him to price his goods at razor-thin margins. Stepping out of your car, you spot a familiar face across the street. Standing under a street lamp, Sarah Morelli smiles at you. "Hey there, stranger," she says and strides toward you. "Hi, Salem," you say. Sometime in high school, everyone started calling her Salem after an oral presentation on the Salem witch trials and her own interest in witchcraft. At first, students teased her with the nickname, but she owned it, and the name stuck. She throws her arms around your neck, and the two of you hug. When you lean back, you can't help but stare at her for a moment, shocked at her appearance. Already you feel flush in her presence, and your stomach tightens. "What?" she says, backing away. She wears skinny jeans with white motorcycle boots and a t-shirt from a band named Screeching Dinosaur. Just below her hairline sits a small pink scar, a living memory of her father's malignant notion of discipline. "Sorry, you look a bit different from the last time I saw you. I like the purple highlights in your hair. You got a nose ring." "See, this is why you need Instagram." She smiles again with perfect teeth, not those big wire braces from high school. Her face is leaner, jaw stronger, and she even seems taller, though that's not possible. She holds her head up high. "I guess I just became myself." The new look suits you," I said truthfully. "I should hope so," she says. "It's good to see you. You haven't changed a bit. What's it been, 5 years?" "Something like that. It's surreal coming back to Jericho Heights after so long. I'm glad you're here to welcome me." Again she lights up with a smile, but it quickly fades. "I'm so sorry about your grandfather." "Thanks. It happened fast. He didn't even tell the rest of the family until it was stage 4. She nods in a knowing look. "How was your grandfather? He didn't want people to help him with anything. Remember when we had that really bad snowstorm a few years ago?" "Definitely. It was bad in Chicago. We got 2.5 feet of snow. We got over 3 feet. The morning after it stopped falling, I was shoveling the sidewalk in front of his store when he came out and chased me away. 'If I need your help, it's my last day on earth,' he yelled." Her voice turns to your grandfather's gruff tone, along with his puffed-out cheeks. You let out a laugh. "Wow, your impression of him is still perfect. He's so stubborn. I can't believe he chased you off." "Later on, he shoveled his whole property in the front of my house and my neighbor's. He showed me," she laughed, shaking her head. "So is it true you're some kind of fortune teller? I've heard some wild rumors about you." "I wouldn't call myself a fortune teller, but someone who studies the paranormal. I'll have to tell you about it sometime." Other words, she's sizzling hot. I mean, yeah, probably. I believe so. But, I mean, she's a gothy looking punk kind of girl, so that's kind of right up my alley. So anyways, a ripple of thunder spreads through the clouds and a few drops of rain hit the ground. The wind picks up, blowing leaves down the street. Quite a few are already gathered in the entrance of Chapter 11, along with trash and other debris. "I hate to say this, but your grandfather's place is a mess. No one's been in there, not even to collect mail or packages. We all wanted to, but even after he passed, the whole town respected his space and stayed out. We all knew he wouldn't want us touching it. To be honest, it feels like he's still around, like he's just out of sight." She stares at the storefront, and you can almost read her thoughts. Like you, she's probably envisioning your grandpa working on a window display, something elaborate and overdone, like when he created a scene from The Telltale Heart on Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. "No problem. I'll take care of it." Me and you both, sister. See, you have good taste, Tally. What can I say? Salem gestures at the shop over her shoulder. "I can help you clean everything out if you want. I'm guessing you'll be here just long enough to sell the place and then back to the city. And you'll at least be here for the summer festival next weekend." "Maybe. Maybe not. I'm going to clean up on my own and figure things out." Salem takes a step back. I get it. I'll let you have your space. I just came to say hi and give my condolences. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll see you around. Where are you living these days? Living back with my mom. It's temporary while I work out a few things. Salem motions with a thumb behind her. Is she looking out? You look across the street and spot Mrs. Morelli peeking out from behind a curtain. She sure is. Salem turns and waves, causing her mom to retreat. It's great being an adult. She twists her body around and nods to a house across the street with a red canopy awning. I've been thinking of moving over there. It's owned by a nice couple who are just married and travel a lot. They only want $300 a month, but it's a tiny attic room. I need to save up a bit more, but at least it's close to my parents. You look across the street to where she's pointing and spot room for rent sign in a window. How are your mom and stepdad? She shrugs. Mom's still mom, nosy and nagging. Dad's great. He's had some medical stuff going on, but things seem better now. The rain picks up, wetting your clothes, and a flash of lightning follows a thunderclap. The glass window of your grandfather's store rattle in the wind, and several dogs bark from a distance. I should get going. Salem wraps her arms around her body and squints to see through the downpour. I'll see you tomorrow. Go get out of the rain. All right. Take care. Welcome back to Jackson Heights. I totally mixed up the voices. I should get going. Salem wraps her arms around her body and squints to see through the downpour. I'll see you tomorrow. Go get out of the rain. All right. Take care. Welcome back to Jackson Heights. She runs off, leaping over puddles like she's playing hopscotch. You hurry out of the rain under the canopy and shake off a chill. Not having been in the store for a few years has you apprehensive. You have a lot to do, but at least there's no rush. You can take your time to unpack and go through the store at your own pace. As you fumble for the keys to the deadbolt, a gust of wind blows against your back, renewing your chill. In a flash of lightning, you catch a reflection in the glass. A figure standing by your car. You spin around, but there's nothing there but darkness. It flows from street level up the side of the building. You step out from the canopy and hold your arm over your head to shield your eyes against the rain. What do you see? Nothing. The side of your grandfather's store is clear. A curtain from an open window on the second floor flutters outward in the shape and motions of an apparition. Your hands weave a protection symbol over you. In the days before science and religion, other forces kept humans free of hauntings. You've learned to invoke such powers. Whatever dark creature is stalking you in the shadows has a purpose. Is it for good or evil? Sometimes the scales of morality are not so balanced, and intentions of otherworldly beings are not this or that, black or white. That thing saw you, knows you're in town, and has a reason for revealing itself. Your presence in Jackson Heights has not gone unnoticed. Chapter 2. You are not alone. Small towns have long memories and pass their horrors down ceremonially from generation to generation, wrote Stephen King in Salem's Lot. You enter your grandfather's home for the first time in 5 years, almost tripping over a pair of yellow rubber galoshes by the door. Stepping over them, you flip the light switch on and off several times with no effect. You resort to turning on your phone's flashlight. So much space for a tiny shop, all of it sparse and cold and lifeless, without its true owner. You run your hand along an empty shelf, once a display for popular paperbacks. Pulling back, you leave fingerprints in the dust. You shuffle through the aisles and around the fixtures, finding them all poorly stocked. A loud fluttering startles you, and something swoops at your head. You duck low and fix your hands into the sign of warning. If the creature is of supernatural origin, you'd know it. Part of you hopes it's real, just so that you can study it. As it returns to perch on its wood beam, you see it's no more than a common bat. With your mind at ease, you circle the long counter. As a child, you spend countless days here with your grandpa. A sign hangs over the counter. Tuesdays, 12% off. You shake your head with a smile and pass under it. A rack by the back room holds an old coat, a leather bomber with an insignia of the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team, wings, carrying a sword. It smells like mothballs and pine. Chapter 11 bears the weight of the past, memories, in every square inch. You check behind an oil painting of astrological signs. Below it sits a note. To Grandpa, love Sky. After all these years, he kept the note, you say aloud. Pulling aside the painting, you find the fuse box and flip the breakers. Overhead lights pop on in a dim glow. Again, you hear the flapping of wings heading high and away, and you spot the furry form flying out of a broken window near the rafters. With the lights on, you see unopened mail on a small bench behind the counter. First Bank of Jericho Heights, overdue. ComEd Electric, payment due. Nicora Gas, third notice. Kishwaukee Water Reclamation, overdue. Jonathan Banks, Esquire. All addressed to your grandfather. His first name, we're gonna call him George. You pick up the last one. You recognize that name. Your grandfather's estate attorney contacted you days after his death. As his primary heir, he left you the property, including the store and the house, along with the rest of his life insurance payout. After taxes and funeral expenses, $4,000. He left me everything he had. The jingle of door chimes lifts your head, and in walks a figure with grayish-black hair. Sorry, the store isn't open. The figure steps into the entryway and gives the store a once-over before turning to you. I'm not here to buy anything, my friend. I came to introduce myself. I'm Marvin Bumpley, mayor of Jericho Heights. You study him for a moment. Wait, don't you own the bank? He folds his arm over his chest, which he puffs out. I do as well. I'm a busy man, and the devil finds work for idle hands. He opens a fist bump, his hands in white leather gloves. You lean on the counter. A draft blows through the store with a low whistling. So, what brings you by the store? This visit must have a purpose, and I want to know why he's here. Mayor Bumpley runs a hand along his hairless chin. Aside from the curly mustache, his skin appears smooth and new, ageless. I just happened to be in the neighborhood and saw a light inside. I heard you were coming back to town and wanted to offer my deepest sympathies for your grandfather's passing. George was a wonderful man. This town won't be the same without him. Thank you. He passes in front of the counter, glancing around the store with a pensiveness, like a courtroom attorney before the defendant, preparing to cross-examine. Plan on being in the Heights for long? Speaking on behalf of our town folk, we would love for you to stay for a while. Thompson has always been in Jericho Heights since 1955. Okay, I'm going to cut in with my own personal commentary on this one. Being in the town since 1955, according to the game itself, it's only 2019. That's what, 70 years? So that's what, 2 generations of people, of a family? Like, that's not impressive. That's not impressive at all. So anyways. I'm going to respond with, it's hard to say. I just got here. The mayor clearly has an ulterior motive for asking. The mayor retreats a few steps. Of course, not fair of me to ask so soon, but we need young blood like you in Jericho Heights. Most young folks with prospects leave for college and never return. So to see someone with a reason to stay, especially someone who could reopen one of my favorite stores, well, pardon me for getting excited." "Thanks, Mr. Mayor." He pans the room, his lips pursing. "I expect you'll be repairing the store and taking care of maintenance. I'd hate for this to remain such an eyesore in our beautiful town." He smooths out his sweater and backs away from you. "It's getting late and you're tired from your trip. I'll go now." He turns on his penny loafers, but stops, snaps his fingers, and turns back. "I almost forgot. I'll be hosting a dinner party at my home tomorrow evening and want to extend an invitation. Please consider it." He draws a card from the pocket of his khakis and places it on the counter. "Thank you for inviting me." He gives you a courteous wave and exits your shop. Alone in the shop again, you reach for your laptop, but a yawn interrupts you. It's been a long day and you can't fight the fatigue. The shop will be here in the morning and you can tackle your grandpa's business tomorrow. You leave your luggage near the counter, lock the front door, and zombie walk through the back of the store and into the attached home. You only make it to the living room couch before you pass out. You walk through the old woods behind your home, right past the abandoned train tracks. Your vision, blurry and narrow, fades in and out, like you're being dunked underwater and yanked out again, over and over. You're sweating and your heart races. You try to look over your shoulders, but you can't see anyone coming from behind. Up ahead, a path opens between a thicket of bushes. The ground slopes upward, and at the top stands a figure watching and waiting. Your heart rate slows, and a warmth engulfs your body like you're wrapped in your favorite wool blanket. As soon as you focus on the man, his form wavers and dissipates into smoke. Just as he fades, a hand reaches out of the cloud and beckons you forward, and as you burst into a run, it rises, blotting out the sun. Everything goes white. As you progress through the story... Oh, sorry, nope, this is not story stuff. As you progress through the story, you'll receive experience points that may be used to raise your attributes, skills, and other traits. You may use your experience points or save them for later. After choosing one or more stats to raise, you will confirm your choices before continuing their story. Remaining experience points, 7. Okay, so in the regular video game versions that I have played, which is just Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, I'll be honest, but I've also played the tabletop version. Experience points are what you expend to do exactly what this is saying, to raise your attributes, your skills, and traits. To raise them, you have to spend a certain number of experience points per what you're raising it to. So it's not like 3 per level that you want to go up. It'd be like 3 for the first level, 4 for the second level. So if you had none, you do the 3 for the first and the 4 for the second. It would cost you 7 in total to go up 2 slots. So yeah, I wanna see what we have for backgrounds. Okay, yep. So I could raise something from 0 to 1, and that would cost me 2 experience points. I could raise one from a level 1 to level 2, and that would cost me 4. I could raise one from level 3 to level 4, and that would cost me 8. So I think it's 2 more each time. Because if I'm looking at this, level 1 would cost 2, level 2 would cost 4, level 3 would cost 6, level 2 would cost 6, level 3 would cost 8, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to do that. Let me see about the attributes. Oh, wow. Okay. Attributes: the strength, dexterity, stamina, charisma, manipulation, composure, intelligence, wits, and resolve increased by 5. So to get, so yeah, level 1 is 5 points, level 2 is 10, level 3 is 15, level 4 is 20. I'm going to assume level 5 is 25. All right, that's the attributes. Those are 5. Skills. Wow. Oh, okay. Skills go up by 3s. I remember in the tabletop, that is how the tabletop goes for skills. I know it is by 3s. So going to level 1 is 3 points, level 2 is 6, level 3 is 9, level 4 is 12, level 5 is 15, level 6 is 18. All right. So yeah, so I have 7. I'm just going to save mine at this point. Yep, we're going to save. Okay. You wake up to gentle licks on your face. Hex's orange and white face stares down at you, her whiskers tickling your nose. She meows and stares at you again with green eyes. Hex was the name Grandpa gave her. It fits, so that's what I'll call her. She purrs and stretches out her body with her front paws away out front. You reach up and pet her. Thanks for waking me up, old lady. You stroke her back, and she sinks into your body and purrs. You're not ornery at all. Your mind replays the odd relationship between Hex and your grandfather. He'd set out a can of tuna for her on his workbench and then chase her off if she stayed too long. He'd sit and pet her while binge watching old episodes of Law and Order and shove her off if she took up too much of the couch. Damn ornery old cat, he'd yell as she bolted through the cat door he made her. She leaps to the floor and stretches her back by rolling around on the old rug by the television. As you sit up, the room spins for a few seconds. You close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Light pressure comes from the base of your skull, but it fades. Images flash in your mind, bits of memory. The doorbell rang and you answered. An unwelcome guest at the threshold of your grandfather's home, and then it's all a blur. Even those images fade from view as you try to focus on them. It must have been a dream. And now that you're awake, you spend some time looking around your new home and reacquainting yourself with the nooks and crannies. Okay, Grandpa, let's see what you have hidden around here. Always a bit paranoid, your grandfather had hiding places where he stored his most prized possessions, whether they were worth something or not. You walk around the rooms on the first floor, living room, kitchen, and office. While you search, memories of your grandfather superimpose themselves over the rooms as though he were a spirit, showing you where to find supplies to maintain the shop, products to restock the shelves, and even family heirlooms. You take mental note of everything. It's like he's there. After the tour, you end at the office. 3 tall filing cabinets occupy one whole wall. Opening one at random, you pull out a brown file folder along with a cloud of dust. Line after line of transactions take up each page with many bearing names you recognize, with amounts down to a penny. You slip the file back in its vertical coffin and smack the dust off your hands. You sit down in the leather swivel chair in the office, a seat you were never allowed to take before. Looking over at his image by the door, he shakes his head at you and waves goodbye. You press the power button on Grandpa's iMac, a blue trapezoid that looks like the head of a robot. A full minute later, it starts up to a desktop as cluttered as the cluttered as the rest of the property. Emails saved as text files coat the screen, and though it would take too long to review now, a quick scan shows most are unfilled orders from weeks ago. After a few seconds of perusing, the screen blinks and a window pops open. Your grandfather appears wearing his favorite fishing hat, and he's fumbling off screen as he comes into focus. "There's stupid thing on. Alright, whatever. Sky, I hope this is you watching. Anyway, if you're seeing this, I'm likely a ghost already. Don't worry, I'm not gonna haunt my own house. Maybe that stupid blowhard Marvin Bumpley's. Listen, I don't want to get all long-winded. Hell, I hate that your last image of me will be inside this box. Since we haven't talked in a while, I figure this might be my last chance to set things right." He pauses and looks off camera, his face drawn, eyes drooping. When he looks back at the camera, he wipes his eyes with his hands. "Chapter 11. It's old and run down, but it has a spirit that keeps it going. In the right hands, it'll flourish. Not these old hands, but yours. It's all yours now. Do me one favor. Stay a while. Give it 6 months. If you don't like it, sell it. Hell, burn it down for all I care. Just see if Jericho Heights is the place for you. Besides, there are reasons for you to be here. People you need to help. Things will come to light and you'll know what I mean. Mostly, I believe you'll be happy here. Maybe without me nagging you to death. You'll enjoy it as much as I have. I love you, kiddo. I'm sorry it took this long to say it." The video ends, and you turn off the iMac. You lean back in the chair and spin in a circle, listening to it squeak. Having seen your grandpa's message, you feel closer to him. I truly miss him. Just seeing an image of Grandpa brings up a lot of memories, but mainly you feel more connected to him now than you have in years. This message meant more to you than he could have imagined. Even if you stay in Jericho Heights, how will you run a store by yourself? Grandpa rarely hired help, which was one reason the business was so stagnant. When customers complain that their orders arrive late or you lack customer service, you need to get more hands to help. Your grandfather didn't fix issues. He made excuses for them. You have no idea how he stayed in business as long as he did. Then, there's the issue of money. How much will it take to get the store back to where it needs to be, full of both merchandise and customers? More to the point, if you're going to stay, you'll need a regular income to survive. Besides the store itself, there's a spare bedroom you could rent out. But do you really want to be a landlord on top of a store owner? From those bills you found, he certainly dug a hole for this place, and now he expects you to try and dig your way out? 6 months is a long time, and quite possibly with nothing to show for it when you're done. As you spin around and around in the leather chair, Hex creeps into the room and skulks along the perimeter. She moves to a corner and scratches at the wall. You stand to investigate. It looks like every other wall. Same dull yellow wallpaper, faded and peeling in places. You knock back the surface. It feels solid with each tap of your knuckles, until you hit a slender area right above Hex and a foot-wide column to the ceiling. "Well, what do you know?" you say, and slide your fingers along the baseboard. After some searching, you find a seam. Your fingertips move along the nearly invisible ridge and find a depression midway up the wall. Pressing it, the section pops in, and you slide it back along the wall like a pocket door. Inside is a hidden area, a rectangular room you never knew existed. "Well, it looks like Grandpa didn't want anyone to find this." Stepping into the room, you stare wide-eyed at the contents, a huge assortment of occult paraphernalia. Card fetishes sit on the top shelf of a bookcase. Below them, tomes on spiritualism, numerology, tarot card reading, and the like. A smaller shelf holds jars and cups and bags of powders, rocks, and dusts of various colors and textures. A crystal ball with a base resembling a copper dragon perched on a pedestal. In the center of the room rests a clear pool of water held in held in a basin your grandfather likely used for scrying, observing people or places from afar. You look over the books and one piques your interest. It's a book on the practice of curses. As you flip through the pages, you notice several of them are loose and handwritten. Your grandfather's handwriting? You read over them, and they only reinforce what you know. Those who place curses do so at a risk of physical and mental strain. It's possible to lose one's humanity from placing curses too often as you deal in the focusing of negative energies. The writing ends, and you close the book and place it back in the pile. This room holds all you would need for your occult practices. For now, you leave the room untouched. Even if you remain in Jericho Heights and reopen Chapter 11, there's so much to do. It feels overwhelming. First, there's restocking shelves, checking inventory, and reordering supplies. Grandpa's computer had weeks of unfulfilled orders, at least a half dozen. Leaks, a broken window, and wobbly shelves need repair. You'll need to tell the townsfolk about the reopening. How can you do it all? Alright, first thing I'm going to do is check the store emails. You walk into the store and open the store's emails through Outlook on your grandpa's computer. Over 500 emails sit in the inbox. Sifting through them, you trash dozens of ads and spam. You unsubscribe from several newsletters and mailing lists. After about 15 minutes of cleanup, you start looking through serious emails from customers and vendors. 12 orders are overdue. 3 orders came in today. Somehow, your grandpa figured out how to sell on Amazon, but didn't finalize his Sharps market. Marketplace. He also joined a site called Sell Deal and several requests for antique manuscripts. The site is up online but requires a login. Luckily, your grandpa stored it in the browser. When you access the site, you notice a private inbox with 20-something more orders, some as far back as 6 months. If you want to fulfill all the orders, you'll need inventory. So then we're going to check the store's inventory. If you plan to open Chapter 11, you need enough products to sell. Empty shelves will give customers a poor first impression. You head into the storeroom to review the store's backstock. You're disappointed to discover that most of the core items, from new bestsellers to popular paperbacks, are missing. Without the mainstays, you'll have few sales and a lot of disgruntled shoppers. A ledger hangs on the wall with a detailed account of every inventory purchase for the last 30 years. Fewer entries exist for this year. And looking around, you're not surprised. You run a finger down the outer edge of the book marked with color-coded tabs. One marked Expenses draws your attention. You're no accountant, but it's clear your grandfather owed a lot of money to a lot of people. Bender Brothers Limited, $1,255. Empire's Used Cars, $282. ComEd, $562. First Bank of Jericho, $29.41. Although it's over $5,000, not an insurmountable lot. Let's try that again. Although it's over $5,000, not an insurmountable amount, though it's not great. Flipping through the ledger, you find these same 4 names recurring. June, May, April, and farther back. In the back of the ledger, an envelope is pinned to the cover. Inside, you find invoices and bills for ComEd and Empire's Used Cars. You read them and fumble through the printouts, startled at the tallies at the end. In bold red letters, Empire Used Cars, $16.92. ComEd, $44.96. That's when it hits you. The ledger shows cost per month, not total owed. If your grandfather's behind on payments for over 6 months each, he likely owed tens of thousands of dollars. Would his debt carry to you? You close the ledger and take a deep breath. This is a puzzle to solve later. Let's restock the shelves next. You head into the storeroom and look over the few boxes of inventory your grandpa left behind. If enough customers came in, they could clear you out. Of course, that would be a welcome problem. As you carry out the first crate from the storeroom to the shop, you observe two things. First, you're profoundly out of shape. Secondly, you need to invest in a handcart. Over the next 2 hours of lugging out product from the back room, you struggle with an aching back and burning legs. After each trip back and forth, you need a break. As you're moving all of the inventory, you remember the hidden room. Your grandfather collected so many rare items, you're sure you could spare some to sell in the store. You can't imagine using all of them yourself, so you head inside and collect a box of various occult supplies. Books on numerology, an ornate box of tarot cards, healing crystals, and powders used for spiritual rituals. When all the boxes sit in a stack in front of the shop's counter, you collapse on the floor for a while. When you can finally move again, you line every display and shelf with a few items, enough so you're not embarrassed should customers come shopping. After 2.5 hours, you give up. Your aches have turned to pain, and you can't lift your arms over your chest. The old door chimes ring again, and you jet into the store anxious to see who's coming in. Sorry, but the store's closed. Why didn't I lock the door? Although I'm pretty sure I did, so that is a weird thing. Anyways, the door swings halfway inward and hangs there. The door swings halfway inward and hangs there as... The door swings halfway inward and hangs... My lord, let's try that again. The door swings halfway inward and hangs there as two small wheels roll over the threshold. Footrests pop in, and then a man in a wheelchair enters. His wavy dark brown hair combed to the side, a wholesome round face, and well-muscled arms in a button-down shirt. Closed in spirit, but not in practice, my friend. It hits you. That's Adam. Adam Bain. He's also not Adam, or a different version of him. When you last saw him, he was standing, running, wrestling, jumping. Now he's in a wheelchair. A million questions spring to life in your head, but for now, you simply stare. Adam's expression turns sheepish. Say something. I guess I can open the store for a buddy of mine. Well, don't I feel special, he says, and then groans. Not disabled special, but, unique. Wow, I think I just offended myself. You and Adam break out into laughter. He always had a strange sense of humor, a mix of self-deprecating and ridiculous. He was always so clumsy, he'd overplay a fall or exaggerate the pain of an injury. He'd make you and Salem laugh so hard you'd lose your breath. He'd kept going until all of you were breaking up, not even remembering what started the whole thing. I was gonna call, but I just got here last night. I know. Salem emailed me. He pushes his chair forward, letting the door swing past, and then opens his arm by his side. Get over here and give me a hug already. Just dive on it. You lean over and wrap your arm around his side and the back of the wheelchair. It's an awkward embrace, but still feels all right. Then you part. You stroll to the counter to sit next to him. Thanks, I hate when people stand and talk to me, he says and locks his wheelchair into place. No, I don't want to speak to your belly button. I'm sorry people do that to you. He looks away. The silence builds between the two of you, allowing you to move on to other things. What's been going on with you? Not much. Working on my father's business, getting my master's online, shooting myself accidentally. Normal stuff. Wow, I can't believe that. Your master's, huh? I say and crack a smile. Adam laughs hard. Oh shit, that's funny. Damn, yeah. I'm done with my CPA and going for a master's in finance. I don't want to do accounting my whole life. Cool. Good luck with that. Now, can we talk about the accident? He smiles knowingly and nods. We were at this late night camp out, me and a bunch of friends. Salem was there, as a matter of fact. We were passing around a jug of moonshine, and I hit it a bit too hard. I walked into the woods to pee, and I don't know, I thought I heard something out there with me. I happened to be carrying a gun at the time, this showpiece my uncle gave me. The uncle who owns the range in Long Grove? Long Grove. The uncle who owns the range in Long Grove? Yep, Uncle Harry. So I heard this noise. You know that feeling when the hair on your arm stands up? I felt real fear, even through the buzz. I could barely swallow and my body was telling me to run. I pulled out my pistol, slipped on wet grass, and the gun went off. I didn't know I was hit because I felt nothing. My legs wouldn't move, but I blame it on the booze. I called for help and passed out. When I woke up, I was at the hospital. Shit, I can still hear the way my mother was crying. He sniffles and wipes his eyes. Anyway, a few surgeries and several months of rehab, and here I am, stronger, sleeker, aerodynamic. Look, if you have questions or anything, say, I'm an open book. Next, you say, I wish we kept in better touch over the years. I totally agree, Adam says, shifting in his chair. When you were here for the summers, we'd hang out all the time. You'd leave, sure, but then we'd pick right back up when you came back the next summer. But when that last summer you spent in the Heights ended, we treated it like any other day. But you didn't come back. Does that mean we're picking right back up where we left off? He smiles. Hell yeah. You mentioned you're working with your father now. Adam looks back at you with a subtle frown. Yeah, it's great, can't you tell? It's that bad, huh? What's wrong with it? It's not terrible. I'm doing well, great salary, and accounting comes easily to me. But I feel like I'm missing out on something, some amazing adventure out there somewhere. I could be the hero of a story if I could just find it. Yes! Adam shouts. Exactly! This town is small, but something's going on. I can feel it. Beneath the surface, power is gained and exercised, used and abused. I don't understand the game or its rules, but if I weren't tied to my desk all day, I'd find out the truth. You nod, intent on listening to him, but you get a sense that it's time to move on to other topics. Next, you say, how is Salem doing? You two hang out? Me and Salem? We talk. We don't have a ton of time to hang out, he says. She works nights at the libraries while I work during the day. On the weekends, she hangs out at Morning Pulse, a newish coffee shop. They do poetry readings, and all the creatives of the Heights hang there. Salem does poetry? No, Salem is the artist in residence, and they let her display her oil paintings there. Every once in a while, some tourist will come through and buy one. Her stuff's amazing. I just wish she had a bigger audience. After a moment, Adam raises his eyebrows. You still have a thing for her? One lonely night, back in the summer, between 8th and ninth grade, while playing rock band in Adam's basement, you admitted to thinking Salem was cute. You shrug. I'm not sure what you want me to say, you say, shaking off the question. By the way, how's she doing since, you know? Adam looks up pensively. He always considers his words carefully when talking about sensitive matters. He always thought he'd make a good doctor since he has what could only be described as excellent bedside manner. He could tell someone they have cancer and make them feel good about it. She's doing really well. I almost feel wrong to say it, but that fire was the best thing that ever happened to that family. Joe Morelli was an evil man. I hated what he did to her and to her mother, but at least he got what he deserved. Ever since that fire, Salem's been great. She stopped doing that thing with her hair, and I don't know, she just seems relaxed overall and able to be herself. It's like she finally gets to have her childhood. I'm glad to hear it. Are you seeing anyone? Dating? Adam shakes his head. Nah, no one. I've dated some people in the past, but nothing serious. I've tried dating apps, but this town's small. If I go over to Aurora or Elgin, it's just hookups. It's seriously hard to find substance. Well, just keep trying. You're a great person. You'll meet someone special one day. Adam blushes. Thanks, that's nice to hear you say. Ever since the accident, my confidence has taken a hit. I'm really not used to feeling like this. Getting rejected really sucks and makes me reluctant to keep trying. I admit sometimes I just get so lonely and then depressed. It's a downward spiral. Well, well, I'm back in town now. Anytime you want to talk, I'm here for you. Adam lights up with a smile. I'm I'm glad you're back. How are things here in the Heights? Not bad. Most of the same old, Adam says in his mock old man voice. A small town with all the pretense of a big city. Sure, we have a Starbucks, a trauma center, a first run dine-in restaurant. We connect to Wi-Fi on our iPhones to upload files to the cloud. We use emojis, take selfies, post them on our Snap. But in the same town, you drive down Main Street just to get about anywhere and see anyone. The barista at Starbucks knows us by name and gives us the usual. Unless you're behind a tractor, you don't worry about traffic. We still unlock doors at night. You really love this place, and it shows. Makes me really glad I'm back. I love the Heights. Always have. I never want to leave, but his voice trails off, and he hesitates. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Even a town like the Heights has its ghosts, but I never abandon it. Salem is so set on leaving, and that's her priority. I get mad when I hear it. My grave's already picked out at Serenity Park. Adam glances at his watch. Hey, I should get going. My dad's expecting me back at work soon. I'm at the bank, he says, making air quotes with his fingers. Let me text you my phone number. The two of you spend a minute exchanging contact info, and then you walk ahead and hold the door open for him. Good to see you too. Stop over anytime. I'll text you later. Adam smiles and rolls out, and you let your door swing behind closed. Adam smiles and rolls outside, and you let the door swing closed behind him. And as we turn back to more dealing with the choices of the store, we are going to actually call it a stream at that point. So thank you all for joining me. We will be back next week with more of Vampire the Masquerade out.